Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com. So I wanted to take a look at some things that were released as far as advanced solicitations for the December 2015 time period. Mostly there were a few things that I saw as I was perusing the posts, and I just thought, well, what the heck? I'll just throw an episode up talking about the various things that I see from the various publishers. So here we go. I'm going to start off with the IDW advanced solicitations. So there's a Judge Dredd #1 coming out. I don't know. Is this an ongoing? It says part 1. So yeah, there we go. I was never big into Judge Dredd, but I don't know. I guess I kind of noticed Judge Dredd stuff that comes out. Probably thinking, you know what? At some point, I should probably read some Judge Dredd comics. But I doubt I'll start with this one. There's a new Rocketeer miniseries, Rocketeer at War. This is by Mark Guggenheim with Dave Bullock on art. For fans of the Rocketeer. You know, I love the movie, but I've never read any of the comics. One of the things I like about IDW is the Star Trek book, or books, I should say, that they do. I get the ongoing series, and I've been loving that ever since it launched. But there is a Star Trek: The John Byrne collection that's coming out for. It's a trade for $35, almost 500 pages. So this collects various miniseries that he did for IDW in the past, and I've kind of kept my eye on those, thinking I should probably get around to reading them. You know, I have a fondness for John Byrne based on his Alpha Flight work many years ago, and his Superman relaunch that he did after the Crisis. And I knew he was doing Star Trek stuff, and I've read just a smidgen of it over the years. But this collection gives you Alien Spotlight Romulans, Assignment Earth, which actually that's something that I actually would be really interested in reading. I just watched the Assignment Earth episode on Netflix not too long ago, and the character of Gary Seven, I think that's the one, where they tried to do this backdoor pilot with this episode of Star Trek, and I've always liked the Gary Seven character and the cat who can transform herself into this exotic looking woman, and just the general idea of what Gary Seven was doing in 1960, was it 68, 69, 68 I think, Earth. Especially contrasting that with how Kirk and Spock basically just stand around looking and waiting. Very uncharacteristic of Kirk to be doing that in that episode. But anyway, so I'm assuming this is like a continuation of that character and that idea. Let's see, there's Romulans, Balance of Terror, Romulans, the Hollow Crown, lots of Romulan stuff. Crew, Romulan Schism, and Leonard McCoy, Frontier Doctor. So I might want to pick that up depending on how cheaply I can find it with discounts online. There's a new, more Star Trek, Starfleet Academy #1. This is a limited series by Mike Johnson, who writes the main series, along with Ryan Parrott, with Derek Charm on art. So this apparently focuses on the iconic cast before they join the Enterprise, immediately before the blockbuster 2009 film, it says. Plus, we also meet a bunch of new students. So I'm guessing that IDW and the Star Trek people are trying to branch out a little bit, which I don't mind. I might have to pick that one up too, but I'll probably wait for the trade. A Hero's Death by Ricardo Sanchez and Mark Teixeira. This is a trade coming out of a Kickstarter So a hero's death. It's about a superhero who died 20 years before, but her death still haunts one young reporter. And so the reporter decides to dig into what really happened. So that sounds like an interesting story to me. And that is it for IDW, at least for the things that caught my eye. Let's see, we'll go to Marvel. Secret Wars is ending finally. I know some people have been complaining about how long it's taken, the Secret Wars thing, and the all new, all different stuff has already started when Secret Wars hasn't ended. But you know what? I don't care. I have really been enjoying this Secret Wars event series. Jonathan Hickman has just been killing it as far as the story goes, and the Assad Ribic art does not hurt at all. So I'm enjoying it. So there's a lot of at the time of this recording, there was a lot of noise about who online as to who the new totally awesome Hulk was. I hope it's not a spoiler, but well, it's not because the solicitations are out and everybody's talking about it. Anyway, I don't know why I'm concerned about spoilers. Do you guys care about spoilers when people talk about these things? That you know that the news is out there, so it's like I shouldn't feel bad. But anyway, Frank Cho's doing the art. Ooh, I didn't realize that. But it's the new Hulk is Amadeus Cho. I have no idea who this character is. I mean, I've heard of him, but I don't read Hulk comics, so I don't know what the big deal is. But it's Greg Pak and doing the writing, and Frank Cho on art. So that I like Frank Cho, but I don't like the Hulk. So I doubt I'll even try that out. The new Daredevil coming out. Charles Soule writing it, which that's really good. Ron Garney is on the art. Daredevil sporting this mostly black costume with some red in there. That's different. Well, sort of. I mean, I know Daredevil's done the whole black thing before, black costume before, and he's back apparently in the district attorney's office in New York City. So I'm really curious how they're going to resolve, because I haven't read Daredevil number 18 yet at the time of this recording, and so I'm really curious how they're going to resolve the fact that he was disbarred in New York. Again, there was a lot of hubbub online about Red Wolf, this new comic from Nathan Edmondson. The artist is Dalibor Talajic. So this is Frontier Boomtown Timely has this hero in Red Wolf. Looks like it's set in the late 1800s. So that's interesting. You get a period comic set in the Marvel Universe. Red Wolf, though, let's see. I seem to recall that there was a Red Wolf character in the second Hercules miniseries from, what was it, the mid 80s, I want to say, that I really enjoyed. I really liked that character a lot. I don't know if this Red Wolf has anything to do with that concept at all, or is this just the name being recycled for a totally different take on the character? I'm guessing that's what it is, but I'd heard about this before, but here we get Spidey number 1, which is I guess it's the all ages look at Spider-Man's early adventures. I think I might try that out. Here's another one I probably will. I'll give it a try, even though it's written by James Robinson. I used to like him a lot. But what I do like is this idea. It's called Squadron Supreme. It starts off with they're each the sole survivor of a lost Earth, and they'll do anything to protect this one, whether you like it or not. So it's kind of like, I want to say, kind of like the Authority in a way, kind of the in your face. We're going to do what we want, what we think is right, even if you don't like it. But you get the character Hyperion, which was in the Avengers run before Secret Wars. Nighthawk from Supreme Power, Dr. Spectrum from the Great Society, Blur from DP7, and Power Princess I think wasn't that a character from The Runaways? Anyway, they are a team that doesn't ask permission or what the rules are. All that matters to them is the safety of the Earth. And they're going after Namor in this first. Well, this is also double shipping 1 and 2. So, yeah, I love the concept. I'm not all that keen on. I don't know the artist Leonard Kirk, so I don't know. I'm not excited about the creative team, but that's mostly because I don't know Leonard Kirk, and Robinson's been really cold for me lately. Speaking of Robinson, here's Scarlet Witch. There's a new #1 series. It says witchcraft is broken, and the Scarlet Witch is on a journey across the globe to fix it. Now, I know this is the all new, all different Marvel, but when did Scarlet Witch become this involved with witchcraft? I know that there's some aspect of that in her history, but she historically is a mutant, and her hex powers are less about witchcraft in my mind than it is about how her mutant power affects probabilities. So this focus on her as a witch, I mean, it's in her name, so I guess writers tend to go to that. But I'm really curious. Obviously, I have not read everything involving the Scarlet Witch over the last decade or more, but still, it seems odd to me that this character who was a mutant with these particular powers is suddenly to me anyway, being touted as having connections with actual magic. But like I said, this is the all new, all different Marvel, so maybe. Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat. So when I heard about this series, I thought, I've always kind of been interested in the Hellcat character, but I've never really read anything about her or involving her, other than her appearances in other comics. But then I read the solicitation, and I saw the preview art, and it's just not for me. I mean, it looks nice. I'm sure a lot of people will like this, but doesn't really interest me. Oh, there's a George Perez variant for this, but anyway, if you're into that character, I mean, some of it seems kind of interesting. Let's see here. So it's Patsy Walker is the character, if you're not familiar. Patsy barely has time to deal with her mother's exploitative romance comics about her childhood resurfacing, much less how they start to interfere with her work and dating life, blah, blah, blah. So there's some aspects of this that I find somewhat interesting, some avenues that maybe haven't been explored so much in Marvel Comics. So I don't know. Just not for me. And that's okay. Lots of Deadpool stuff. Never read Deadpool. I mentioned John Byrne before in regards to IDW, but they have the Marvel Universe by John Byrne Omnibus. A bunch of stuff here. Over 1,100 pages for $125. It's got Champions 11 through 15. Avengers 164 to 166 and 181 to 191. Power Man, a couple issues there. A bunch of Captain America comics. Silver Surfer #1 from 1982. Some Hulk, Wolverine, and Marvel Fanfare #29. A couple other things too, but ooh, this is I might have to seriously look at this. Daredevil by Frank Miller Omnibus Companion. Oh, Companion, never mind. Let's see here. Well, this does contain Daredevil 226 through 233, which is that well-loved storyline. It's also got Daredevil Man Without Fear 1 through 5, which I have not read. The graphic novel Daredevil Love and War, along with a couple issues of Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. Well, maybe I should give that a shot. Moving on to Image, I believe. Yes, it is. Right off the bat, I was struck by the Jeremy Saliba cover for Blackjack Ketchum, which is a miniseries that is about the Old West. It just looks really cool. I don't know what the Claudia Balboni art will look like, but it's like I said, it's set in the Old West, but it's not. It says in a dreamlike version of the Old West, whatever that means. But there's a talking sidearm, a secretive gambler, and a mute girl with a Winchester. The character Tom evades the mysterious Union and its supernatural enforcers, the Faceless Dusters, as he's forced to question his identity, his sanity, and his very existence. Well, hyperbole aside, it sounds interesting at least. And we just don't have enough Western-based comics, do we? Okay, so this is one of the reasons I wanted to talk about these advanced solicitations. So I saw a tweet talking about how the Fade Out was ending. The Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, Elizabeth Breitweiser series. And so this is a solicitation for issue number 12. It says, of 12, series conclusion. It all ends here. I do not ever recall seeing that this series was a limited series in any stretch of the matter. I mean, well, all of Brubaker's and Sean Phillips stuff, you can consider them limited series, but they usually go a bit longer than 12 issues. So I find it interesting that they're ending it on 12. That's too bad because I've really been enjoying this series. I think the Fade Out world has a lot of potential to it. They could come back to this and tell other stories, if they wanted to. But it's too bad. I really enjoy that. But it's one less comic I have to buy. I can buy something else. Speaking of series that seem to be ending sooner than I anticipated, We Stand on Guard, the Brian K. Vaughan, Steve Scroce series that basically just started. Issue 6 of 6, miniseries conclusion. So I actually went back and looked at the previews for November and saw the We Stand on Guard number 5. It says nothing of 6 on here. So nothing about it being a limited series. What's going on with these image books? Are they just not selling well, or were they really limited series, but they just never marketed them that way? I wonder I bet that's what they're doing. Because a lot of people like me will sometimes wait for the trade for these books. Maybe that's their way to try and get us to buy more monthly comics, I guess. I don't know. So what do you guys think about that? Let's assume for the moment that that's what Images and other publishers perhaps are doing. They're not advertising these as limited series. And then all of a sudden, somewhere down the road at number 6, number 12, whatever, then it's suddenly a mini series, or the series conclusion is coming. Do you feel like you were misled in any way, or what are your thoughts on that? Let me know. So here's something very interesting. The Private Eye Cloudburst Edition hardcover. This is, again, Brian K. Vaughan, but this is the series that was digital only. This is by the art was by Marcos Martin and Munsa Vicente. So when this comic launched, I read some articles about this. I remember reading that the artist basically was telling Brian, Mr. Vaughan, that they could never do this in print. They should just go all in and do a digital comic and not do a print version. I distinctly remember reading that they had no plans to do this, and the cynical little voice in my head said, "Oh, sure, eventually they'll do one." And indeed, here we are. I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't stick to that. But on the other hand, I could have this story, and I did. I bought the first issue, the digital issue, way back when. So, but now I can hold the issues 1 through 10 in my hands and read it. So, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I just found it very, very interesting that they said one thing and now they're doing the opposite. At least as I recall. And that's it for Image. We're going to move on to DC. I'm going to skip the whole Dark Knight 3 thing. I can't decide, guys, if I'm going to get this or not. I did not care for the Dark Knight 2. But this is, Brian Azzarello's involved, Andy Kubert, Klaus Janson. I don't know. $6 for 8 issues. Well, it's $6 for the first. Well, I don't know. I'm looking. Actually, this is for issue number 2. It's $6, but there are 8 issues. I don't know. I probably trade weight on that, if at all. I loved The Dark Knight Returns, but when they did the Dark Knight 2 thing, I really did not like that story. I did not like it at all. But James Tynion IV and Freddie Williams II is bringing us Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So DC and IDW are teaming up for this crossover. I just the concept alone is just like, this is out of this world. And I might just have to, I don't know. I won't get the miniseries as it comes out monthly, but I will seriously consider getting the trade of this thing. Oh, this is cute. So there's another Harley Quinn book, Harley's Little Black Book, written by Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti, with art by Amanda Conner, which that's a big plus for me. And it says, and a bunch of people who owe her favors. So looks like it's a one-shot, perhaps? It's 48 pages, so I might have to get that just because I really like Amanda Conner's art. Batman 66 meets The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Is this some sort of tie-in to the movie that bombed? I don't know. I knew of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I don't think I've ever seen any episodes from that series. But we got these two 1960s television icons crossing paths. I'm paraphrasing the text here. This is a 6-issue miniseries. But here's, as I said, there were a few things that in particular that I wanted to talk about based on these advanced solicitations, and this is one, Robin War, number 1 of 2. So this is this is a bookend thing, kind of like what was it, the Robin Alpha and Omega they did last year or two, whenever it was. But this is so DC's doing this whole Robin War thing. I assume. Well, I was going to say I assume this is having to do with, in some fashion, maybe it doesn't say this, but this is my assumption. But maybe it has something to do with the Batman and Robin Eternal series. Regardless, I don't care. DC is celebrating the Robins, and I love Robin. I love pretty much all the Robins. There's one Robin I love to hate. Anyway, so I'm all in. I'm going all in on these books, and I know I have a few people in my life that they're upset about how this is interrupting their other monthly comics, and to that I say I don't care. Bring it on, because I'm probably gonna get all of the tie-in issues, and I'll probably regret it, but at this point I don't care. It's like I said, it's all about Robins. As it says, it's Robins versus cops, Robins versus Robins, Robins versus Batman, and Robins versus the Court of Owls. Of course, you got to bring in the Court of Owls because they're the big money draw here. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. anything that's to celebrate Robin or Robins, I'm all for it. And you've got, so like I said, you've got the Robin War. This is written by Tom King. So that's a big plus for me. Carrie Randolph was doing the art on those bookend pieces. But you got tie-ins with Grayson, Detective Comics, We Are Robin, Robin, Son of Batman, Gotham Academy, which I've not read anything of, so I'll be exposed to that series, those characters. Red Hood Arsenal, again, I have not read that series. Teen Titans I haven't read in a long time, so I'll be getting all those. Looks like Justice League 47, the second act of the Darkseid War begins with that issue. Another storyline that I've been really enjoying. I plan to do a focus on the podcast on that series. Hopefully I'll get around to it before it gets done. So I saw this in the November previews, the Superman American Alien by Max Landis, arts by Tommy Lee Edwards. I kind of was sort of thinking about it. I like the idea of the examination of a young Clark Kent, but I could take it or leave it, I guess. But then I saw a bunch of tweets from Max Landis, and he was expounding on why he thought we should be buying the book, and based on that, I'm probably gonna pick this up. It doesn't hurt that I'm a big Superman fan too, so it doesn't take much to get me involved. Again, here's another reason why I wanted to talk about these books. Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman number 17 is the final issue, and which is a bit of a pity. All of these digital first titles, they did it with Batman, they did it with Superman, and then now Wonder Woman. I've really enjoyed these books because they weren't tied to the New 52 continuity. They could tell all these different tales, get all these different writers and artists involved. I really like that concept. It's like an anthology focused on a particular character. So I'm really kind of bummed out that this is going away. And so, everyone starts wondering, well, why are they doing this? Why they make that decision, stupid decision or good decision, depending on how you feel about it. But then I saw, I don't remember who it was, but somebody involved with Sensation Comics, whether they as a contributor or maybe it was somebody behind the scenes. They talked about how this was planned. This is a planned termination, if you will, for this series. So, like I said, it's too bad, but at the same time, I'm also looking forward to which character that DC will be doing this treatment with next. Do you remember those DC Comics Presents? What were they, like 100-page, basically reprint books? I think they went, maybe it was 96 pages now that I'm looking at it. But there's a couple new ones. So basically, whenever they put out these reprints for these $8 reprints, I snatch them up because I love reading this old stuff. So they're doing a couple new ones for December. Robin. So it's the Robin War 100-page super spectacular. This is reprinting stories. It says Robin versus Robin versus Robin in these stories from Teen Titans 29, Batman 657, Nightwing 139, and Batman Battle for the Cowl number 3. So these really very disparate issues, but focus on Robin versus Robin. I probably have read half of these, but I'm probably more than half. Actually, I may have to look these up. I may have all of these issues. So maybe I won't be getting that one, but I will be picking up the other one, which is the Darkseid War 100-page super spectacular. It's funny. It says 100-page in the title, but down below it says 96 pages. So they must not be counting the covers, the cover stock. Anyway. But this is focused on Darkseid, of course. But these are, except for one issue, these are comics I haven't read. So Mr. Miracle number 1, New Gods #1, and Seven and the Forever People #1. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm gonna pick it up. Oh, I know many people are going to be very pleased about this. There's a new Batgirl trade collection. This is the Cassandra Cain Batgirl. This collects issues #1 through 11 and an annual. I never read any I never read the Batgirl series itself featuring Cassandra. I only saw her in various other books that she happened to be in. So this is a character that I have really no connection to or affection for, but I know a lot of people love that character a lot. So I might want to pick that up just to find out, why this devotion to this character. Ooh, is this in time for the? Nah, it can't be. It's not. I was going to say the TV series. There's a new Lucifer series. I think I remember hearing about this before, but written by Holly Black with art by Lee Garbett. Ooh, that's nice. So yeah, Lucifer is back in a series. So I read the original Lucifer series from the 90s. I think it was the 90s. I really loved that series. That was the best. Well, I don't know. I was going to say that was the best spin-off series from Sandman, but I really enjoyed The Dreaming as well. No, Lucifer is probably the strongest. Dreaming was really good, but Lucifer definitely had a really good arc to the character and to the story as a whole. So I will be getting that. And looking forward to the TV series as well. So Tom King is doing another series called The Sheriff of Babylon with art by Mitch Gerards. So it's an 8-issue miniseries. It says pulled from Tom King's real life experience as a CIA operations officer. So it says here, Florida police officer turned military contractor Chris Henry is tasked with training a new Iraqi police force. One of the trainees ends up dead, so he's forced to team up with Nasir, the last remaining cop in Baghdad. So it says the miniseries is a thrilling wartime crime drama told amid one of the most tumultuous times in modern history. I kind of like Tom King right now, so I'm probably going to get that book. And that's it for DC. Let's go to Boom Studios. And first up is this miniseries called Venus by Rick Loverd and Huang Danlan as the artist. I hope I said that right. The reason I'm mentioning this is because it's set in the future. In 2150, Earth's resources are depleted, and countries race to outer space to mine what they need from other planets. Of course we do. China has laid claim to Mars. Interesting. So the U.S. and its allies have to make do with getting what it needs from the inhospitable world, as if Mars isn't, of Venus. So they have to survive on Venus, adapt or die. It says. So I really like these. I like stories like that where, it's like the Martian movie with Matt Damon that comes out at the time of this, as I'm recording this. Comes out in a couple weeks, I think. So just the idea of us getting out into space, exploring, going to other worlds, maybe inhabiting them in some fashion. I love those ideas. I think we should be doing that. We should be putting more resources into that. Not to mention saving our own world. But anyway, I don't want to get on a soapbox here. So. But I like the concept, so I'm really intrigued about that. Oh, I guess that's the only thing for Boom that I want to mention. Okay, so finally, Dark Horse. Let's see what Dark Horse has to offer. So there's a book that I've heard of called Alabaster, and so here is it looks like a new miniseries called The Good, the Bad, and the Bird. So this is a 5-issue miniseries written by Caitlin Kiernan with Daniel Warren Johnson on art. So like I said, I've heard Alabaster previous stories have been good. So maybe I'll have to check that out. So it says, a new evil haunts the sun-scorched backroads and ghost towns of the American South. Murderous twins who command a legion of ghouls. It says, once again, Dancy Flammarion must face down demons, both those who walk the world unchallenged and those in her own shattered mind. I don't know, maybe. There's just so many comics to read and not enough money in my wallet. So we'll see. Looks like Angel and Faith Season 10 is beginning its final arc. I haven't read this Season 10 since the first storyline of both it and Buffy. So, but I kind of keep my eye on it, I guess, is why I mention it. But interesting, it doesn't say final arc for Buffy, so I only imagine it's going to be winding down its Season 10 too pretty soon. Paul Levitz comes to Dark Horse in Dark Horse Presents number 17. Yeah, at one point in my past, I would have been very excited about that. But like I mentioned earlier about James Robinson, Paul Levitz is really kind of cold in my mind as far as his work. Which is too bad because I used to love Paul Levitz's stuff on the Legion of Superheroes. So this new series, I assume it's a series. No, it says miniseries. Okay, by Paul Tobin, who's writing, and Alberto Albuquerque is doing the art. With Marissa Louise on colors. This is Mystery Girl. She can solve any mystery but her own. So Trina Hempstead knows everything. Ask her a question like, where are my keys? Or is he cheating on me? Or how are there perfectly preserved mammoths in recent ice? And she just knows. She's the mystery girl. The only thing Trina doesn't know is how she knows or anything else from the last 10 years of her life. Dun, dun, dun. It says, for fans of Marvel Girl and iZombie? Really? Anyway, it sounds interesting. I actually had an idea for a character with a very similar skill set, if you will. And the whole keys thing, where are my lost keys? That was going to be in this story that I was going to write about this character. So I just thought that was really interesting. So I'll probably have to take a look at some preview images or more information about this book before I decide to pick it up. But I'm kind of intrigued about it right now. Like I said before about Judge Dredd being a character whose catalog I should probably read at some point, or at least delve into it. Here's another one: Will Eisner's The Spirit. So there's the New Adventures hardcover. It's a second edition. But so apparently back in 1997, Will Eisner gave permission for new spirit stories to be told. And so, as it says here, the call went out, and the response was nothing short of remarkable, with contributions from such creators as Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons, Neil Gaiman, Paul Chadwick, and Eddie Campbell. So this is 240 pages for $25 hardcover. I probably will pick that one up too. But I have to admit, if I hadn't seen those names, many of those names on there, I may not have been as interested. Okay, well that's all I had to go over as far as the December 2015 advanced solicitations. I did want to mention before I sign off that this episode is kind of special in its own way because it is the 100th episode that I've released. It's number 87, but with the 0 episode and the 12 The Gutters episodes that I've released, this makes it officially the 100th that I've released. So, yay me! But really, thank you very much. I already did a thank you episode, mini episode, I guess, sort of episode for my anniversary back in July. But again, thank you so much, everyone who continues to download to listen. Thank you to those that respond about the episodes. Send me feedback, and you could do so about this episode if you would like. You can email me at longboxreview@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at longboxreview, or you could go to the website longboxreview.com and you can leave comments there as well. I'd love to hear from you guys. I really would. And finally, if you have any suggestions for topics for me to talk about, please send them my way. I'd love to entertain your ideas and maybe get them into the show in some fashion. Anyway, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.